My best friends admitted they set me up with my fiance as a prank. They expected me to be humiliated. Instead, I'm marrying her, and now they're the ones panicking. I've been with Nadia for 5 years, and I can say without hesitation, they're the best 5 years of my life. She's warm in a way that's almost impossible to describe to people who haven't met her. She laughs at her own jokes before she finishes them. She names the plants on our balcony. She stays up until 3 a.m. because she got an idea for a painting and can't put it down. Being around her feels like the sun deciding to hang out with you specifically. We met the winter after community college through my 3 oldest friends, Reese, Thomas, and Kwame. Guys I've known since we were 7, since the days of trading cards and busted bikes. They brought Nadia to a game night. We started talking about a show we both loved, and that was it. 6 months later, we were together. My mom cried the first time she met her. My dad calls her kiddo. I bought a ring in the fall. Here's where my friends come in. They all moved 2 hours south for work after school. So these days, it's mostly group calls and the occasional weekend visit. When I told them I was going to propose, I expected them to lose their minds with excitement. Instead, I got silence. Then Reese said, "Wait, you're serious? Like actually serious?" Then a lot of bro, no, and you can't be this dense. I figured they were just being commitment-phobic idiots. Then they told me the truth, and they had receipts, which somehow made it 100 times worse. They'd known Nadia years before I did. Met her at a house party back when they were 19. Thought she was fun. Kept her around. According to them, she was the girl they'd call when they were bored. Parties, hookups, passed between the 3 of them like she was a group activity. They used a word I won't repeat that made my skin crawl every time it appeared in the messages. And the punchline, the part they were laughing about, they brought her to that game night as a bet, to see if their clueless friend would embarrass himself trying to talk to a girl who was way out of his league and not the settling down type. They screenshotted old DMs to prove they'd stayed in contact with her for years. They sent them like a victory lap. Told you he'd catch feelings. Should have known you'd be the one to actually fall for it. You're marrying the group project, man. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I did the math they didn't expect me to do. The messages proved they knew her. They didn't prove a single thing about who she is now, or whether she'd ever been in on anything. And the more I read, the clearer it got. The joke was never on her. It was on me. And these 3 grown men had spent 5 years waiting for a moment to spring it. I left the group chat. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since. Not one apology, just jokes. Get tested, bro. Enjoy the leftovers. Real friends. I talked to Nadia that night, as gently as I possibly could, and I regretted the words the second they left my mouth because she folded. Not guilty, terrified. She started crying so hard she couldn't breathe, apologizing over and over, asking if I thought she was disgusting, begging me not to leave. She said she never knew about any bet. They'd invited her to a hangout and introduced us, and that was all she knew. I believed her instantly, and I told her so, and I held her until she stopped shaking. Later, she explained why she'd never mentioned them. She barely remembered those guys. A blurry stretch of her late teens she wasn't proud of, a time when nobody in her life treated her like a person. When I came along and just talked to her like a human being, she said, it was the first time in years she'd felt like one. She was scared that if I knew she was connected to them at all, I'd see her the way they did and disappear. So she buried it. I'm not angry at her. Who she knew before me, what she did before me, none of it is my business, and none of it changes one atom of how I feel. She didn't do anything wrong. 3 men did. Here's the part they didn't think through. Their parents and my parents still live on the same street. Their families still show up to the same barbecues, ask my mom how I'm doing. When Reese's mother asks about the wedding, my mother is going to have a very honest answer about why her son wasn't invited. Nadia and I picked a date last week. Small, weird, exactly ours. My dad's walking her down the aisle. They wanted a punchline. They're going to get a wedding they'll hear about for the rest of their lives.